Welcome to Sheni V'Chamishi. We just had the Meshechist come, a special boy, a mystic. We just dropped him off at his place. He's going to be here for Rosh Hashanah and he's going to inspire us. He's here for the Yidden who come once a year to Shul and enjoy a guy that's half in this world, half in the next. We're not bringing him to those yuklach from Shabbos, those weirdos that, not Lashon Rabin, but at least one or two specific that are... They're not interested in hearing a Meshechist give over the Rebbe's message and Mashiach and Geula, but neither are they interested in free thinking and science. They just want to have their religion and their Kiddush. They're very simple-minded. So yesterday I looked into the Gansvit Shulchan Aruch and saw that he says putting salt on the table is a mitzvah. So I thought, what type of mitzvah could that be? Does he make it into a new mitzvah? Does he find an interpretation later, like the Texas sharpshooter bullseye, where first he hits it and then he draws the thing and he shoehorns it to fit in, and then he gives a gematria, he explains why the salt should be on the table and the mizbeach, and it's a big gematria this, it's a kind of nonsense. So I was driving yesterday back from Slichus and a Farbrengen with the Rosh, and I heard about the Saadia Gaon, Ben Joseph, who I just looked up. Ben Joseph is Saadia Gaon. There's a street in Israel named after him. Got that? Yeah, I'm looking at Wikipedia here. And the woman is saying that Saadia Gaon said it's a mitzvah to study philosophy. Probably what they mean is not it's a mitzvah, it's a commandment from the Torah, but it's a mitzvah, it's a good thing. So you could listen a little bit.
In Jewish thought. This after the heirs of the Greeks had been speaking of the Jewish God for more than 1,000 years. Ben Joseph saw the search for philosophical truth as a mitzvah, a religious obligation, and this idea would remain a part of Judaism and doubt. Along with the Aristotelians, there were Jewish Neoplatonists in the Middle Ages too. Solomon ibn Gabirol, circa 1022 to circa 1051, was outstanding among them. His fountain of life was pure philosophical speculation, unconcerned with theology. An odd thing about this book, which was written in Arabic, is that it was preserved only in a Latin translation made in the middle of the 12th century. Because of the complete absence of biblical or rabbinic citations in it, medieval Christians thought the book was written by a Muslim or a Christian Arab. That this could occur is a bold indication that philosophy had a life of its own in this period. Ibn Gabirol was borrowed from and quoted approvingly by such luminaries as Albert the Great, Thomas Aquinas, and Duns Scotus. Jews, meanwhile, knew him almost only by his poetry.
Okay, very good stuff I have to share with you right now. So by the Farbrengen the Rosh was doing for the Shluchim, he mentioned slichis and doing tshuva and knowing what you feel and want, and you're still like a human or like a behemoth, because according to science we're kind of the same. We have the same feelings and behaviors, even habits. But that's nonsense. That's an endless cycle of feeling far from God when that's all made up. It comes from psychosomatic practices of monks and mystics and things like that. So anyway, the Rosh mentions that, and then the Rosh mentions Benegela in Yanenu. I missed it. I missed the point that she was explaining very well. Literary writing. So I went in for slichas. So this nice Israeli guy that I remember from 770, he should be in his 40s, late 40s, and he says to me, "Zog a little slichas," and try to focus. I saw some friends, and I wasn't so focused on the piyutim. And I said, "Dude, the people who wrote this piyutim are these literary. They're probably apikarsim. They're Jews who are free thinkers, and they there are a lot of rationalist Jews who did not, they were far more sophisticated than believing the stuff that you guys believe that you get from Cheder. All the beliefs, even that there was a Matan Torah actually in history. Or whether it's a mythical story about a god coming down on a mountain and presenting tablets. It doesn't even sound godly, the story, because everybody had tablets, all civilizations had it. So what he said, here we're passing Rabbi Avremel Levitansky's Chabad. This is the boy with the tzitzis. Oops, you're going to get to see a beautiful treat. This is Rabbi Avremel Levitansky's shul. I hope the focus is working. And then, so what you got here is, I said to him, this Israeli was feeling all mystical and holy reading the slichas, which is fine. But he's pushing it on me. That's when religion hits the fan. Once you start pushing it on someone and trying to You say more, say less. I'll say slichus. I said slichus that night when I was driving and texting like an idiot that I was. I pick up my eyes and I see I'm almost slamming into a white Mercedes in front of me. I hit the brakes and turned the car to the right, and luckily there was no cars in the right lane, clear. And then I said, what an idiot, texting and driving. It's an unforgivable sin. It's not something you're doing to yourself, like masturbation. It's hurting people. You can kill somebody. Look at that. Wow. Did you see that? That's like a 3 motorcycle machine. Somebody wants to go to the moon with that. So, what we got is, the Rosh is speaking about whether we're making a bracha levatala, in a bunch of, he was mixing things up and there was no point in the Farbrengen, nothing accurate, and whether we're making a bracha levatala, and when we say different things like V'Lushalayim Mircha Brachim Tashuv, and then I said to him, well, ask any Paisik if those brachas are outdated, then they'll tell you that it's outdated. So yes, it is a bracha levatala. Conclusion. He says, you say that, you're not bikoidus. So I said, it's not about me. I told you to ask a Paisik. I am not and if I am an apikoidus or not, it doesn't affect the conclusion of the study, because it's not about me. It's about the fact that I'm letting you know that if you ask, maybe the Paisik will say, listen, I have a family, Habrachmanis, please don't do this to me. Ask a different Paisik. Okay, so ask another Paisik. Till you meet a Paisik that's rich, smart, and could sing well, and has balls, and he says, yeah, I'll tell you the truth, because I don't give a fuck. Now, so the guy pushes me the slichus. I tell him, the guy who wrote this is you could see his style. He's a literary, very good in literature. He must have been apikoidus because he's educated. Nobody could write this. All these beautiful piyutim, and they were definitely not the simple people who wrote that. Why did I say it? Because this Israeli is getting all mystical and holy and spiritual and righteous and everything on the slichus, and all the bachrim were shaking, and it was very powerful. And I looked at that and I thought, what is this, more than Yom Kippur? Is it more than Rosh Hashanah? Look, this is the entrance to the Yom Noraim. I really was interested in the whole connection and assimilation of everybody's mind, and it was a very great interest to me. But that's so the nekuda here is when the Rosh says you're not bikoidus, and he's talking about slichas. I didn't say this to him, but because there's a limited amount you could say to him, and besides anyone that uses the word apikoidus, it's already, the conversation is over, because anybody could be called an apikoidus. The Rambam was called an apikoidus by so many Yidden, and to use that word loosely as a Lubavitcher or any chassid of the Baal Shem Tov, to use the word apikoidus loosely, especially when the Baal Shem Tov himself was accused of apikoidus, is very wrong, it's cruel, it's childish, it's stupid, it's inaccurate, and it doesn't make sense, because when you ask him what's the category, you said that the Anshe Knesset Agdoilo, the Metakin, and it's outdated, just like a lot of things are outdated. We have the Rabbeinu Nachman ben Zakkai got rid of a lot of things like prophecy and animal sacrifices, Karbonis and Nevuah. The very foundation of the Hebrew faith, it's gone. What do we do today? L'cha Hashem Hatzdaka, we pray. We daven. So now we have a guy, a special boy that came. He's a mystic. He's half in this world, half in the next. But he's a nice boy. He's not going to harm anybody. He's not going to tell someone, you have to do this, you have to do that. Because this boy, he's powerless. He's not a powerful guy that people look up to, that he could corrupt the power. He's a nice kid, and he's just looking to do good, and he's naive, and he's fresh out of the mikveh. Of course, he doesn't have the sophistication either, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to give him all the happiness that he's looking for in terms of making himself feel accomplished by grinding water, putting on tefillin with people that are not karkaftas anymore. That's a waste of time. The Rebbe only wanted us to take people out of karkafta, not to go like Reb David Shmukler does. Whenever he's bored, he goes to Melrose and wraps tefillin on people who their habit is not to put on tefillin every day because they're amiratzim, and they don't have guf naki, and they're working on fixing their electronics. Nonsense. So the lady says in this beautiful book by Jennifer Michael Hecht, it's called Doubt, a History, all the way from the Kohanim to Einstein, and everyone in between, Spinoza, and of course the Saadia Gaon and Ibn Gabriel. So the lady's saying that when the people read Saadia Gaon's writings, they had no idea he's a Jew. He wrote so well. he wrote it so philosophically, perfectly, amazingly, you know. Like, people are surprised that certain scientists are Jewish, and me, myself, I love to find out if certain scientists that doesn't say that they're Jewish, I love to find out if they are, because Judaism is my favorite religion, because that's the one I'm born into, and that's the one I remember all the songs and everything. But, and I like to, you know, and I feel proud, because I'm Ashkenazi blood, a little bit of that nonsense and elitism, it's just a stupid feeling, but I have it. So, I said to the Rosh, when these Bachrim come out of this Farbrengen Slichus, and I just came that night from a Kumsitz with Litvische, and they go to a Litvische Koil, these Bachrim, and they have nothing to sell. You said that you were speaking about the Rebbe in the later years, and how the Rebbe was saying, Atat kum Mashiach, and he believed it, and if somebody said he doesn't believe Mashiach is coming Atat, he would get rid of the guy, he wouldn't talk to him, he was saying how, I said, all this talk, if the Bacher can't do Afatzas Amayanis to the Litvische, what's the point? The Hebrew prophet said that we're here to be Lagoyim. We left Israel to be a light unto the nations. You want to skip that? Okay, but if the Bacher can't go... So what is the Rosh answer, of course? Again, an attack. He has to attack me. Don't attack me. I'm just the guy that's sophisticated enough to bring the question. I just know how to ask a question. But the question still stands. So the Rosh says, those Litvish are not as grub as you. First of all, it's nothing to do with grub or edel. It has to do with the fact that these Litvische boys want to know the truth, and they're not menuvalim like the Rebbe said to Rav Kahana in dollars about the sukkah, sleeping in sukkah. It's not about that. They're not that way. They just want to know the truth. And if these guys have nothing to deliver, then I mean, these are the best Bachrim in Lubavitch. This is one of the top institutions of Chabad. Thank you for watching Sheni B'Chamishi.